Welcome all, I'm Colette here today from Witchways, and I am talking today about questions that I gathered from my Patreon subscribers. Thank you all so much, and from my lovely followers here on YouTube. So I'm going to answer your questions about witchcraft, and if you have additional thoughts, comments, different ideas, I'd love it if you put those in the comments below, and I hope you enjoy this video. So my first couple questions are about altars, and the first question is, do you need an altar cloth? Why or why not? So you don't actually need an altar cloth. Our Stone Age ancestors, and probably even our very early pagans starting to become Christian ancestors in European traditions anyway, did not always or maybe even ever use altar cloths. They may have used rocks or cleared area or stumps of wood. We don't totally know. The use of altar cloths probably came into being through Christianity and the general formalization of Abrahamic traditions, where there were objects that were consecrated and used and laid out as a sign of devotion. So altar cloths probably came from that. Here's my personal take though on altar cloths. I find them really helpful, and here's why. The reason I find them helpful is because to me they sort of contain the space. They create the idea of this is a space that I am magically working on. And I also like it because I can use the color of the cloth to tie into the magic that I want to do and just call in a little bit of that color magic. I also can spray it with various herbal concoctions to make the altar cloth hold the energy of the magic I'm trying to manifest or create. And so those are some of the reasons that I like altar cloths. I don't feel like there's any hard and fast rules around how often you work with an altar. I have some ideas and parameters around that I'm going to share. So my first thought is, if you are doing a particular spell working, that you should spend time with that altar every day until that spell is finished. The other piece that I think about is that if you create a seasonal altar, it might sort of be a one and done for you. And if I'm having difficulty adjusting to the season, I might spend some more time at my altar. The next question is about spells for health and healing. So the first question about that is, how would you time a spell for healing, health for a loved one, moon cycle, phase, etc.? There's different ways to approach that. The simple answer is that if you are working to bolster and increase health, you should do it during a waxing moon and work with red colors and the power of increase. If you are trying to get rid of something or move something out of the body with a healing or health piece of magic, you should do it during a waning moon. And a waning moon is from full moon down to the new moon. It's when the moon's getting a little smaller every night. And the second question about health and healing is, are there any major do's and don'ts for healing spells? And this one's a little trickier. I kind of feel like you have to either be super general and go with best possible outcome, may the spirits support you in your journey towards health, or you have to be really specific in your wording, because healing means different things. A long time ago, I was taught as an herbalist that when you ask for healing, that can sometimes mean death, which obviously you won't want in all situations. I don't think that's a common thing that occurs, that you call for healing and death happens. It's pretty unlikely, but it's just that healing is a very broad term. You could go with a very general May the spirits that love me beyond all reason and have my best interest at heart support me, or the person you're doing it for, in the best way possible for optimum physical and emotional and mental health. Then the other way is to be very specific and craft it very carefully. Like a few weeks ago, I did a video about safety on the ocean and how carefully they crafted that spell. So I would say you would want to say something like, this particular illness, may it leave my body, leaving no trace, not damaging me in the process of leaving, and may my health be restored to optimum, living, vital, radiant health. And just be really specific about what you want to have happen. Sometimes I would say if someone is going into surgery, particularly if it's an exploratory surgery, you might want to just say, skilled help, come this person's way, may the best possible outcome occur. Because if you're specific with something like exploratory surgery, they might go in and not find the thing that they're originally looking for, but miss something else. So I think it's good to cast a little bit broader net, just kind of go in that direction. So the next question is a really good one and is a bit beyond my level of expertise. It's not something I work with really commonly because I've been working for a long time. I do know some things about it, but it's a little bit beyond the edges of what I'm an expert in. So the question is, what is the difference between angels and demons? I've read that angels are above and demons are below, but that they both can be utilized by humans. So if Lucifer is a fallen angel, what does that make him? It seems that typically Lucifer is bad and angels are good, but is that just a Christian concept? So first of all, let's talk a little bit about what a demon is and what the history of that word is. So in Abrahamic religions, a demon is always a malevolent spirit who is here to cause harm. They usually are what's called minions of the devil, which is Lucifer, who is a fallen angel. But demons themselves are not considered to be fallen angels or angels in any form. They're seen to be spirits, and I'll talk a little bit more about some other ideas and some other points of view on them in history and modern times. So they were seen in that way as evil and capable of possessing people. Historically, however, the idea that demons are malevolent beings is not actually true. During very early Greek and even in Egyptian times, demons or daemons, some people pronounce it that way. I'll write that word and spelling up there somewhere for you. Those were just words for spirits in general, or a spirit that had a numinous presence, who was powerful and strong, and you could really feel them present when they showed up. So they weren't considered evil, they're just a spirit of place, and in fact the roots of them are very similar to what is later called Genus Loci, which is spirit of place, and things like that. So yes, I think the idea that Lucifer, because he originated for the most part within Christianity, and the idea that demons are bad is a Christian construct. And in ceremonial and occult magic, in left-hand path side, as I said, both angels and demons are often worked with. And I just want to say the idea of angels has even changed a lot over time. So angels were once seen as guardians, really, really very fierce, that you called on the angels, and still this is true today in some types of magic. Angels are called on to guard the quarters, the cardinal points, as protectors, whereas nowadays in watered down sort of Protestant, white Anglo-Saxon, Protestant magic and religions. They're seen as these cute little cherub things, but originally that's not how they were. I did want to say also that one channel that I've been watching a little bit lately is Arcanium's Darklight, and I'll put a link, shout out to her in the comments or the description below if you want to check out her channel. I would totally refer you to her because she knows a lot more about it than I do. The other idea about demons that's kind of modern, semi-modern, maybe the last few hundred years, is that demons actually are just an energy that coalesced and took on form by collecting, or the collection of a certain type of shadow energy that people carried, or fears, and that those fears would coalesce and enough attention was given to those fears that eventually they became a being in their own right. So the next question is about the ways that you get information from the spirit world. So the person who asked this question said that they had originally asked the spirit world to send them information through their ears so they could get actual words and sounds. And now they've developed tinnitus. They don't know if that's related or not, but that particular way of working with those spirits is no longer useful or helpful because of the tinnitus. And they're feeling like maybe that was just a little bit too much energy coming through their ears. First thing I would normally say is ask your guides to come to you a different way. And this person has tried that, and it still seems like the preferred method is through the ears. So since there is this tendency to want them to, that they want to communicate with you through speech and hearing, you might be able to do a variation on that that works with them, and ask them to come through your throat instead of your ears, and to speak what you're seeing and getting and feeling from them. And that would look like casting a protective circle and doing whatever you normally do to prepare for getting information, taking whatever safeguards are right for you, and then sinking in, and instead of hearing it, asking to feel that energy moving up from your feet or in some part of your body and then out through your throat. And usually what I do is have people make a little tone or a little sound or a deep breath out, just to open the throat and give the spirit guides an idea of that's where we want the information to come through, is through the voice. It takes time to develop it in a new way and to bring the information through a different channel. The idea with protection is I would work with herbs and clothes. The thing that I would do if I was trying to bring it through my throat is put jewelry around me that I charged with protection, particularly protection for my throat and my voice. Then I would also do some things that were releasing energy with my voice. This was taught to me by a vocalist who's a really great singer, which is to do scales or toning when you're in the shower, and there's that moist atmosphere that lubricates the throat, and also we all know we sound great in the shower, so it's easy to bring that information through, so that protects your throat. I also would call on the power of herbs, like having some licorice maybe in a little bundle that you carry near your throat or hold in your hands when you're doing work where you're speaking to protect your throat. That might be an idea. Or you could also charge a cloth with protection for your throat and wrap that around your throat. In general, the idea of asking the spirits to speak through you and preventing harm is complex. However, kind of what I feel about it is to make sure that you are grounded, not in the sense of being centered, but in the sense of being open and letting the energy of the earth flow up through you and the energy of the sky come down and flow through you, and letting that power fuel your intuitive working, and then use that strength of that power to get your information rather than drawing on your personal vital force. So I kind of love the next question. I mentioned that it's my birthday month, and one of my followers here on YouTube asked the question, do you do or know any special birthday magic to do for yourself on your birthday? I do a tarot reading for the year, and then what I do is I also look up my magical year card, which if you don't know how to do that, let me know in the comments if you want to know how to do that, and then I'll put a little short video about that out there. Another ritual that we used to do magically a lot together when I had a working group when I lived in Eugene, Oregon, was that we would meet on a weekend or a moon phase near a birthday of someone in the group, and then having everybody present give a massage with magically charged oil. As we gave the massage, we would each go around and offer a blessing to that person and light a candle. The other thing that I often do is that I thank the mother who bore me, and I also thank my grandmother. So I might introduce myself on my birthday to people as, hi, I'm Colette, daughter of Betty, granddaughter of Maud. And that is a ritual that I like to do. And then the other thing that I often do is a bit of a journey. The way that looks for me is that I might take a hike and start at the beginning of the trailhead, leaving offerings, and just do a really slow, long, kind of hard hike to a viewpoint and ask the spirits to show me what I need to see for the coming year. So the next question is about funerals for beloved pets, showing their love to them, asking how you can help them get where they go on their journey, and honoring them. And they had actually done some research to see if they could find anything about it, and they haven't really found anything. I do have a lot of experience with this over the years. So if I know that they're going to pass, what I do is prepare sort of an altar for their passing and put it on or near the place where they are laying, because usually at that point they're pretty quiet, or maybe just somewhere where they hang out a lot. It depends on how active they are at the time of their passing. And if you don't know ahead of time and they just pass very suddenly, then I create that altar when they have passed. And the question about honoring and showing them how much you love them is, I really feel like creating that altar is one of the things that you can do for them that shows them how much that you cared for them, and shows the spirits that you care for them and that this is an important being to you, and it asks the spirits to pay attention. So for me, what that looks like is flowers and herbs, maybe their favorite toys, maybe a bowl of favorite food that is placed there. I might take one of their bowls. And so then I usually let them lay there for a while, unless they get cremated right away, because I want to sit with that body and let that spirit fully pass. That's just my preference. There's nothing wrong with getting cremation immediately. I've done that with some of my beloved animal friends, and others I haven't. So you can just lay them out after their death and sit with them. I've sometimes sat for as much as a day and a half and had the body there, depending on how I felt, how the people in the house felt, and if there were other animals. If they have close other animal friends in the household, it is important for the other animals to see the body so that they understand that they have died. I would not necessarily bring children into that. I think that could be really traumatizing for certain children. For others, they're old enough and it might be really helpful. So then what I do is I bury them or scatter some of their ashes and then keep the rest of the ashes. And then if I keep the rest of the ashes, I pull a little bit of the ashes out and put them in a bowl when I want to communicate with them. As they are passing, I ask any guides and allies of mine to help them. I light a candle as they're passing and let it burn all the way out. I ask if they have any guides that might be willing to help them. And I also ask my beloved animals that have already passed to make their way and their journey easy over to the other side. And then that's kind of basically what I do. If a lot of people knew this particular familiar, I think it's really helpful to the humans and sometimes the animal spirit as well to have a little bit of a wake and just have people show up and come by, drop off flowers, share their experiences, just like you would with a person. And a lot of that is just for the human, but the animal and their guides does actually appreciate that as well. So I want to thank you all for all your wonderful questions that you posted, and I hope that all of you are doing really well and that you add your comments below. And until I see you next time, stay safe and be well.